Hey you all, in today's video, I had really planned to go through my vintage shelf, the fragrances that I have either had for a long time or that I used to wear back in the day that I purchased new versions of, and talk to you about which ones I really wanted to stay and which ones I want to clear out. And I think I will do that video next, but I had this other idea while I was looking up at that shelf thinking, what I really want to do is just have a little bit of fun and go through the shelves in my collection. They're organized by olfactory family, and pick out for you the ones that right now in this month of this year are really calling my attention the most. And maybe force myself to choose just one per category just for fun. So this is like a current obsessions of the month. It'll change next month and the month after that. But I thought it'd be fun to just take a look at tastes right now and maybe repeat this every so often. So what I'll do is I will just choose one off of that shelf that if I had to only pick one, which is the one that I would want to reach for the most. Let's do it. So this was tough. This shelf has some real stunners on it. I mean, I've gotten to a point where I've curated my collection such that on every shelf, most of what's there, I really truly enjoy and or love. So we're looking at Spirito Fiorentino, Saffron Lazuli, Gris Charnel is there, Rosendo Matteo #6, Oud Bouquet, Bianco Puro, a bunch of beauties, the leather fragrances as well. I really enjoy most of what's there. Maybe there's one or two that I'm still thinking about whether I want to keep or move along. So the goal here was just to, without thinking too hard, scan and grab the one that caught my attention the most that I would want to wear today, right now. And that is from Moresque, and this is Sandal Granada. Have to admit, this is a fragrance that is difficult for me to wear in this house because others think it is really strong on me. Granted, I tend to overspray this fragrance. It doesn't need a whole lot. The major notes, the major players in this fragrance are, bar none, a lovely honey note, a deep, thick honey, accompanied by this lovely, smooth sandalwood and a very nice leather. All of that is sitting on this bed of soft, gentle vanilla. So most people would probably think this is a masculine leaning fragrance. I think it is unisex, maybe even has some feminine touches to it with the honey and the vanilla. And I find this to be a very rich, deep, opulent fragrance, very special occasion, very much a fragrance that you would reach for when you want to feel special, unique, not smell like anyone else, and you want it to have a little bit of edge to you without going deep into that sort of abstract category of fragrances. So Sandal Granada is my choice from the shelf that has the sandalwood, the oud, and the leather fragrances. The next shelf has a majority of my amber, tobacco, and woody fragrances. I scanned the shelf, and the one that called to me the most that I would pick if I had to choose one fragrance to wear today is Hale Bopp from Tiziana Terenzi, a fragrance that when I first tried, I had a difficult time with. Well, I wouldn't say difficult. I was just sort of on the fence about it, like the jury's still out kind of a situation. And the more I wore it, the more I fell deeper and deeper in love with this fragrance. And now I'm just thrilled to have this. When I tell you that this fragrance is sophistication in a bottle, it is magnificent. It's mostly a vanillic amber fragrance with beautiful cinnamon and nutmeg in it, a little bit of sandalwood, a little bit of citrus, but the majority of the fragrance is a soft amber vanilla with spices that just reminds me of all of the beautiful things of the holidays, as well as being a scent that could be the belle of the ball. I could absolutely see pulling for this fragrance when I was going to an occasion, an affair, somewhere out amongst friends, colleagues, unknown folks, where you wanted to bring your highest, strongest, most confident energy into a room. This is a very, very confident fragrance. You need to sort of know yourself and be very present when wearing this fragrance. A little goes a long way with this. It's super strong. It is just so deep and rich. It's a very, very decadent fragrance, sort of like Sandal Granada is. This is even more so. There's something so sort of regal about the way that this fragrance smells, at the same time being comforting and just beautiful. It's a unisex fragrance, although I think it has a lot of what I would call feminine energy to it, as well as some of the masculinity from the amber and the sandalwood. But those spices and the vanilla give it just this beautiful, soft, round touch that's really nostalgic, regal, has lots and lots of presence, oomph, all of the above, and the bottle is glorious too. Hale Bopp is my choice from that shelf. Choosing from the third shelf up almost gave me an absolute heart attack because there are so many beauties on that shelf. I've got my coffee fragrances. I have some, like a mishmash of fragrances that are both floral and gourmands. I have my nutty fragrances. Those have a nutty accord. And then I have like my fall, warm, rich, spicy fragrances. So we're talking about Cafe Carbonel. We're talking about Tribeca. I even have Donna Born in Roma Intense. I have Girl of Now Shine. I have Bianco Latte, Fève de Tonka de Canema, however you say that. I have Oajan, all of those gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous fall fragrances. My beloved Chinatown is on that shelf. But, we're talking about impulse grab today at this moment in time, and I can't deny it. I can't deny it. I have to go with a new addition of my collection, Tonka Cola. I ended up getting the smaller bottle versus the bigger one. And by the way, this is available on So Avant-Garde. I have a discount code, Veronica20 below. Go check that out and see if you can snag yourself a bottle. This is the smaller one, and it also comes in a 2 ounce or 4 ounce. I can't see the size of this one because I'm blind and I don't have my glasses on, but I think this is like a 1.7 ounce or maybe 2 ounce or something. Anyway, that's kind of all I need for right now because I have other fragrances that scratch the same itch, but I did sample this summer and fell head over heels for it. It was a weird sampling experience at first. I was like, whoa, what is that? Because I got this like root beer fizzy experience. And I also got a sensation of like when you check out in the grocery aisle and they have the special Cokes there that are maybe like a special like cherry vanilla combination flavor or something, the specialized one. You know what I mean? It reminds me of that in the opening. Absolutely. And as it dries down, I have a little spritz here. I'm wearing as my scent of the day, Afnan Rare Tiffany. Gorgeous summer fragrance, by the way. Oh, year round, but I like to wear it in the summer. But I've got a little bit sprayed here. What this fragrance does to me is hard to describe. It's still fizzy, it's still warm, it's rich, it's got a spiciness to it. Like I get tones of like cinnamon, vanilla, all of the sweetness, some sugar even in here, sugar. This is just so delightful. A hint of cherry that I didn't really pick up upon sampling. Like I kind of got that little cherry soda type of a thing, but I get it even more here. And it's just rich and comforting and delicious. I could see wearing this in the summertime, but absolutely a fall and winter banger of a fragrance. Tonka Cola, Mancera. And if you know anything about Mancera fragrances, you know they're going to give you a run for your projection and longevity money. They're coming for it, okay? Not all of them, but many of them are really strong performers. So Tonka Cola is my pick, reluctantly off of that shelf because I want to grab so many others that I'm constantly raving about and really do love, but this has my attention today. Let's go up a shelf. It's getting serious, y'all. We're up on the shelf that has most of the straightforward vanillas or vanillas that are prominent in a fragrance, but maybe mixed with other things. So this is a shelf that has absolute stunners on it. You've got Bake from Acro, Remember Me from Javoy, Material from Amouage, Vanextasy. Oh, my chocolates are up there too. So Choco Violette, which recently became a love, Passeggiata in Galleria Vittorio Emanuele II. Did I get that right? From Trussardi? There's just a bunch of stunners up there. I mean, that's a hard shelf to choose from because I want to wear all of those all the time. Zara, A Pastry in Paris, all of those beautiful vanillas. And the one that captured my attention and just called to me above all the others, that was like, no, you're going to choose me today. You can choose the rest of them tomorrow, but today I have the Shining Spotlight. Black Opium Le Parfum. Y'all, when I tell you this is the most stunning vanilla purchase of the summer, and I have purchased a lot of vanillas from the spring into the summer, a lot of beautiful, absolutely stunning, drop-dead gorgeous vanillas. This one right here gave them all a run for their money, okay? You can be a designer freak, you can be a niche snob, you can be a celebrity. I don't care what category you feel like you stand for. This bad girl right here, one of the deepest, richest, most luscious vanillas I've laid my nose on. A little bit of coffee, but mostly a deep, rich, sultry, sultry vanilla. I would say, you know, it's funny because my husband's not into gourmands. He's not into the vanilla thing. So when I sprayed this for him at the store, he was like, meh, meh. It's vanilla, isn't it? I was like, yes, it is. However, when I sprayed this on here in this house and it hit my body chemistry and my warmth brought this thing to life, he was all over it. It's a very sexy, alluring vanilla that you can wear all year round. Probably most appropriate for the cooler months as you start going into late summer, all the way through maybe early spring. Perhaps a tiny bit cloying here in the summertime, but ask me if I care. I've been wearing this. Now, I'm in AC most of the day. I'm not standing outside in 95, 100 degree, temperature. So keep that in mind. But y'all, when I say that this is a stunning, alluring, sexy, come hither, intriguing vanilla, that's what I mean. This one caught my attention most on my vanilla shelf. That's saying a lot, you guys. I have amazing fragrances on that shelf. Okay, you guys, we just went up a shelf to the one that has the fragrances that I reach for when I want like a cozy sweater weather fragrance, or I want to wear something to bed, something that's cozy, cocooning, comforting. I also have some other random stuff up there. Like I have some of my summer fragrances like Terracotta. I have Luna Dulcius, which is beautiful. Oris 22 or 22 Oris. I always forget the order of the name. There are some stunners up there, including 100 Silent Ways, Fire at Will, Satine, Delicia de Marshmallow, Bear by Victoria's Secret. I mean, that's not really like a comforting fragrance. It's more like a clean white t-shirt fragrance, but I have it up there just because. Lots and lots of beauties up there. I have my commodity Milk, Expressive, and Bold, which ain't going nowhere. Like, it'll be a long time. Somebody have to pry those out of my hands before I voluntarily declutter them. As much as I kept scanning across and looking and saying, I should probably choose one of these, the one that kept going, like tapping me on my shoulder, you want to choose me. Choose me. I'm the one. I'm the one you always come back to. It is the amazing Shunkoin from Xerjoff. Amazing. So this is one of the me in a fragrance kind of situations, and I have several of those across olfactive families. This one here, it's subtle. It's subtle. This is not a beast mode fragrance by any means. This is the gorgeous woman in the corner of the room, composed, calm, cool, collected, in the cream linen suit, who doesn't feel the need to be ostentatious, need to be seen, but she has it all the way together. That's what kind of comes to mind in terms of a person that would wear this. But it's also like a cozy sweater. I could totally see this under your like fluffiest, most cozy cashmere sweater. It has to be cream. There's something about the color cream that comes to mind with this. So if you know anything about this collection, the JTC collection, Join the Club from Xerjoff, is the notes are not posted anywhere. So I can tell you that this smells like a cozy spa, not the herbal kind of spa. There's that smell too. In fact, okay, for those of you that have smelled this, sniff it again and tell me if it doesn't slightly remind you of a very, very, very toned down version of Blanche Bette. Fight me on that one. Fight me on that one. I'm telling you, there's a little bit of that in here. There's this creamy nature to this. Something in this, just screams like a fluffy creaminess. Coconut type of note, tea. There's a tea type of thing happening in here, very subtle, almost like a jasmine tea, maybe green tea. Okay, I forget. There are this tea that comes all balled up. It's like a jasmine green dragon tea, and it blossoms in your tea. If you've ever had that, that's kind of the scent that comes to mind here. I can't stop sniffing this. I find this to be intoxicating in a very subtle way, But by and large, the winner from that shelf today. I wonder what it will be like. I'm gonna try this again in a few months and see what comes up. So on the shelf that has what I call my stranger fragrances as well as my iris fragrances. Again, a lot of beauties up here, like Black Opiate. Oh my gosh, I need to go to sleep. Black Orchid, Le Parfum. Iris Shot is just gorgeous. Iris Empire, Iris Poudre, Chamal. Just some stunners. Guidance is sitting up there. Hello. She was a contender. But the one that really did like Shunkoin and tapped me on the shoulder, like, remember me? You want me, is one I haven't talked about on my channel at all, because I don't think that a lot of people would like it. Not even those of you that are into strange and weird fragrances, or maybe you would be. This is called Aroma from Costa, Brazil. So it comes in this wooden box, which I love. And it is, if you care about this, refillable, where you can take the fragrance out and get it refilled and keep the rest of the, keep the container basically. Anyway, the fragrance smells like the container looks. This is a very woody, earthy, aromatic fragrance. So I have this memory of being in a cafe in Mexico with hubby. We were having Eggs Benedict one morning. It was a nice, cool morning. In fact, if you've ever been to a little fishing town in Mexico called Puerto Morelos, it's south, way south of Cancun and north of whatever that other party city is that I can't remember at the moment. It's escaping my mind, but it's along the Mayan Riviera, little fishing town. There's a restaurant called El Nicho. Amazing hole in the wall restaurant. Hole in the wall. Fantastic Eggs Benedict. Anyway, that's not what I'm trying to tell you about this fragrance. This woman walks in and she smells amazing, like earthy, herbal. I know she's wearing some kind of oils. And I asked her, ma'am, what are you wearing? And she had on patchouli oil. I wouldn't say that this smells like patchouli oil, but it gives me that same kind of absolutely earthy aroma. Wet dirt, which I love the smell of wet dirt, along with what you might get from like a patchouli oil, that's sort of like aromatic kind of earthy, almost like dirty, like wet dirt, y'all. Woody, lots of wood in here. This smells, I'm gonna tell y'all what this smells like. This smells exactly like a deep forest smells after a heavy, wet, humid rain. The smell that's coming up from the earth, what that smells like, along with like the pine from trees or whatever other kinds of green smells, mossy pine, all of that together, and it doesn't bother me. Normally a smell like that I would experiment with, but maybe not be interested in wearing. For some reason, the smell in this one is a little bit obsessive. So if Shunkoin was like a creamy, comforting spa smell, this is your herbal, deep forest kind of a spa smell. It's called Aroma from Costa, Brazil. Okay, I did climb up to my vintage shelf because I'm a shorty. Do you remember me saying I'm like 5'3"? On a good day, I'm 5'3", and my vintage shelf is the highest in the shelving that I have. I have some other shelving areas because I have way too many fragrances, but I did climb up on the little stool, and it was a competition. It was a competition between Escape from Calvin Klein. Did you wear that? It is magnificent. And still to this day, it's a little dated, but still a magnificent fragrance. But the one that caught my attention today, even more than that one, tell me, did you wear back in the day Eternity by Calvin Klein was the Tom Ford of the 90s. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? So I went through several bottles of this back then and just have this small one now. And this fragrance brings back tremendous memories for me, tremendous memories of being in high school, feeling myself. Okay. I just knew I had the whole like world at my fingertips. My life was ahead of me. I was figuring it all out and was just sort of full of imagination, of excitement, of creativity, of longing to live this amazing life. That's what this reminds me of, being young and wild and free with my friends and knowing that the future was mine. That is what this fragrance reminds me of, as well as Escape. And this one has some associations of me having like some romantic interest in high school and wanting to smell good, for those situations. That's really funny. This is an eau de parfum concentration. It has a very pronounced carnation note. If you've smelled carnations, the flowers, and you amp that up times 10, it's a little bit of the predominant note in here, along with some greenness. It's a very crisp, clean fragrance, but definitely has some strong greenness, strong carnation, and strong, crisp white florals like freesia, those sorts of notes that tend to smell more on the soapy, clean side. Very strong fragrance. Very, very strong. You need a spray or two. If you're feeling footloose and funky free, spray your knees and your toes too, and go on out the door. Don't go crazy on this one. It can be cloying. It can be very overwhelming for people because it's a powerful fragrance. Calvin Klein did not play with the power in a number of his fragrances. So anyway, Eternity captures my attention off of the vintage shelf as one that I would wear today if I had to choose. The next corner of my fragrance wardrobe that we're going to go to is we're heading into my linen closet in the bathroom. On the left-hand side, I keep my fruity florals and other heavy florals. Well, there's a lot of florals back there, but there's a mixture on the left-hand side. By the way, I'm staying away from like the traditional summer fragrances that have coconut, heavy yellow florals, and all of that, because I've talked about those ad nauseum this summer. So I'm trying to give those a break and give some other fragrances a little bit of shine, a like this one in the fruity floral category. And that is Issey Miyake L'Eau d'Issey Pure Nectar. Pure Nectar. My friends, come close. This is one of the most sexy, affordable fragrances that you can find anywhere. You want to look for the bottle that has the sort of copper bottom, the ombre effect on the bottom, because there's several like this. This is I get mostly rose and peony sweetness from a pear note, and there's a big watery aspect happening here, like an aquatic nature to this. It's a really intoxicating, alluring fragrance, has a gorgeous scent trail. My husband goes crazy over this one. He thinks it is fantastic. And as you see, a little bit goes a long way. I've worn this maybe 4-ish times now and have only needed a few sprays each time. Glorious, affordable. I think you can grab this for somewhere in the neighborhood of between 30 and, I don't know, 50 or 60 for the 3.3 ounce. Check it out online. Look it up. This one is 50 mils, but there's a bigger bottle, if I'm not mistaken, of this also. Just trust me. Trust me, if you like rosy, peony kinds of fragrances, and you can imagine that that has a sweetness to it and is also light and bright and fresh and aquatic, boom, here you go, magnificent. So then in the middle of that shelf, we're looking at mostly my heavily floral fragrances. It can be tuberose, it can be gardenia, it can be other white florals for the most part. And my eye was immediately drawn to one that I couldn't resist. These fragrances, you guys, what I'm talking about is like, if you think about like a romance or a love affair, it's that person that you just can't resist. You have to have them above all others. That's what these fragrances are for this point in time for each shelf. Like I said, in 2 months, I may choose others, but today I choose Narciso, the white cube. So I've shared that I wore Alien for my wedding in the middle of the summer. This was the runner-up. And if you can believe it, this is a little bit more cloying than Alien. And the only reason I didn't wear this as my wedding scent, because we got married on a super hot August day. Gosh, it had to be upper 80s and humid out by a river. And this fragrance, had it been a little bit cooler, might have been the winner. This is an absolute adoration for me. When I tell you that I think about this fragrance and love it and have to resist myself from wearing it so that I can show love to the others in my collection, that is what I mean. Mostly a gardenia fragrance with a ton of musk. It is one of the most heavy musky fragrances that I have. You have to love musk to enjoy this fragrance. It is my favorite Narciso of all of the cubes and all of the others, all of it. Of the entire Narciso line, this has my heart. I'll tell you, that Musk Noir Rose in the red bottle, the newer one, that kind of gives this a run for its money, but this reigns supreme among the Narcisos. Again, magnolia, heavy musk, a nice subtle woodiness in the background, and a little bit of rose is what this is made of. And it brings out the best in me. Do not spray a lot of this. You only need a couple of sprays. Please trust me. I have oversprayed this, choked myself and everybody else out, and nearly had a 911 emergency. It is a super strong, long-lasting fragrance, and a little bit goes a long way. And it is, I mean, just sniffing it from the cap is incredibly intoxicating. If you don't like musk, this will nauseate you and give you a headache. So I just wanted to warn folks out there. This is strong. This is like, boom, beast mode in your face. Moving over into the corner that has mostly my rose fragrances, let's remember this beauty, La Nuit Tresor Nude. This is more than anything, vanilla, some dry, subtle coconut, a little bit of rose. It's a very soft ballerina-esque fragrance. The bottle is gorgeous with the ombre effect, and it doesn't last the longest. It's very moderate in terms of projection and longevity, but it is gorgeous, very feminine, very flirty, very ballerina-esque is the best thing that comes to mind. I think of like tutus and fluffy pink things when this fragrance comes out. Really nice, not talked about much these days, but definitely deserving of some praise, and the one that really drew my attention. Now you got to remember, we got Delina La Rose over there. We've got Atomic Rose. We've got Moresque or Mirage, or however you say that, from Tiziana Terenzi, Syrah sitting over there. We've got Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper. We've got a bunch. There's a bunch of stuff happening on that side of town that I would probably reach for, but this one is the one that caught my attention today. We've got two more, remembering that I am not reaching for those traditional summer fragrances for this video. This is a summer fragrance, but I haven't talked about it much, and it's from Atelier Cologne, and this is Clementine, California. one of the juiciest citrus fragrances that I own. I'm moving more away from citrus as I get older. I went through this whole phase in my late 20s into mid to late 30s where I wore citrus upon citrus upon citrus. I just loved it, and I still do, but I'm a lot pickier now about the citruses that I wear. And this one is glorious. This is one of the sweetest, juiciest, most photorealistic clementine slash orangey types of fragrances out on the market. Just delicious. And I'm talking about a sweet, super ripe clementine that's just like finger licking good type of a thing. Not the longest lasting. I might get, I don't know, 4-ish, 5-ish hours out of this max, and you have to reapply. Hey, I'm okay with that. And I realized that Atelier Cologne is not being sold widely in the States, so you'll have to look for this like on a discount site or something like that. This is gorgeous. Ooh, if you like a good orange fragrance, this is the juiciest. And it has a nice, even though it's sweet, it also has like a little bit of tartness to kind of balance that out. Magnificent, magnificent. So, and plays very, very well in high heat. Okay, and I'm gonna round out this video with something from my white t-shirt shelf. Again, so many beauties over there. I've got Musk Therapy. I've got Indigo from Nest. I have Bubble Bath from Maison Margiela. I have Herba Fresca from Guerlain Aqua Allegoria line. I have Mon Guerlain herself sitting out there. There's so many pretty fragrances on that shelf that I just adore and think about. But the one that caught my eye and did the little shoulder tap, you're taking me home tonight type of a thing, is the controversial Metallique from Tom Ford. So I love this fragrance in many ways. It's one that grew on me over time. When I first sniffed it, I thought it was a little bit weird, and then tried it on and gradually fell in love with it. Mostly a really nice, gorgeous vanilla, and you get metal in here. Like if you think about the way that metal smells as it heats up in the summertime. I tell the story of like if you've been in an amusement park and you're hanging on to the railings as you're waiting for a ride and it's hot out, your hand has a smell on it after that, right? That metal smell, along with soapy aldehydic types of notes, vanilla, metallic notes, and soap, and it just works. It sounds really friggin' weird, but it works, and it's a lovely, beautiful, unique fragrance. You won't smell like anyone else. Very mass appealing and very unisex. So tell me, did you enjoy this type of video? Was this fun for you to hear? What would you add from your own olfactive families? And would you like to see this again periodically? Should we make it a series? Should we make it a standing date to do this, like maybe once a season or something like that? Would love to hear your thoughts about this video. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, friends. See you in the next one.